Welcome to the podcast for and about Colorado Springs. I'm your host, Brittany Felix, and every Monday through Friday I'll be talking about a different aspect relating to the Springs, including upcoming events, restaurant reviews, local business spotlights, media coverage about the Springs, public works projects, local activities, answering your questions about the city, and much, much more. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any of the updates. And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find links to all of those social media accounts at springspodcast.com/social media. The Colorado Springs podcast is proudly sponsored by Elevation Hydration. Elevation Hydration is the only hydration therapy clinic serving Colorado Springs, and they are dedicated to helping you elevate your life. They use intravenous vitamin therapy to help athletes needing a boost of energy or help recovering after a tough competition, people experiencing cold-like symptoms or dehydration from the flu, anyone needing to recover quickly from a rough night out. I'm looking at you, college kids. And just anyone wanting a healthy alternative to preventative care. They have a wide variety of hydration packages to help address whatever your needs are. They're conveniently located inside Lush Beauty Lounge at 812 Village Center Drive, and if you mention this podcast during your visit, you'll receive $10 off any hydration package. To learn more about Elevation Hydration or to schedule an appointment, visit springspodcast.com/hydrate. Welcome to episode 40 of the Colorado Springs podcast. I want to touch base on a subject that is really important to me and that I had been doing some research on for myself, and that is the topic of charities here in Colorado Springs. I have been involved in charity work for large amounts of my life, not my entire life, and there were definitely periods where I did not volunteer, like in, college, a little bit too selfish and preoccupied then. But growing up, my mother was a special education teacher, and I actually used to spend my summers during elementary school volunteering with her special needs children because she did summer school as well. And they would take field trips every other day. And so I would go in every other day and, spend time with the kids and basically help take care of them. And I particularly remember this one girl who was in a wheelchair and couldn't speak and kind of got a little bit ignored, not necessarily by the staff, but because she was contained in her chair and didn't really raise a fuss or fight with the other students or bite people or run away or any of the very interesting things that just absolutely demanded the teacher's attention. It was easier for her to kind of get left alone. So I basically just kept her company. I gravitated towards her and I learned sign language so I could speak with her. And she and I kind of buddied up, and I, made sure that she always had somebody to be around and, enjoy the trips with. And ever since then, volunteer work has been very important to me. And as an adult, that has actually transitioned into working with animals, specifically dogs. When I lived in Indiana, I volunteered with a dog rescue for, 3 or 4 years. And we fostered dogs for the rescue. That's actually how we ended up with one of the ones that we have now. We just couldn't let her go. And I, attended adoption events and helped do their newsletter and helped with special projects and fundraising and basically anything that they needed because, making sure that these animals had a safe place to stay and went into loving homes was very near and dear to my heart. Very, very important to me, and it still is. So I actually have been kind of doing a little bit of research on my own to check out some of the animal rescues here in Colorado Springs. And it kind of dawned on me that this is information that everyone should have. Maybe people don't volunteer because they just feel overwhelmed or like they just don't have time to, find a charity to work with and get to know them and see if they're a good fit and do, research on each charity or nonprofit that they're thinking about volunteering with. So I wanted to bring to your attention some amazing resources to help you with that process, to help make it easier, to help you find some charities super quickly, and to go ahead and start volunteering because I promise once you start, you will feel amazing and you'll wish you had done it a lot sooner. So to start off with, we have a website called greatnonprofits.org. And I should mention I will have links to everything in today's episode in the show notes at my website, and I'll give you the address for that at the end. So you don't need to remember any of these addresses right now. But Great Nonprofits is for the entire country. However, you can, of course, search for charities in and near Colorado Springs. And one of the great things about this website is that you can actually break it down by which organizations have the most or highest reviews and highest ratings, because people can submit ratings and reviews, which is amazing. It gives you a generally good idea of what the organization is like to, volunteer with or just interact with. But you can also sort the organizations by what they call issue. Basically I would say the topic or, the subject of the work that they do. And to just kind of run through the list here, they have issues of AIDS, animals, arts and culture, cancer, children and youth, civil rights, crime and law, disabilities, disaster aid, domestic violence, economic development, education, environment, food, health, homeless and housing, human services, immigration, international exchange, job training, LGBTQ, literacy, mental health, microfinance, philanthropy, religion, reproductive rights, scholarships, seniors, sports, technology, veterans, voting rights, water, women, and then a category that just says more issues. So lots of different ways that you can look for causes that are very important to you. And next we have another website called Charity Navigator, and it also can be searched by city, so you can just type in Colorado Springs. And they currently have 44 charities listed on here. And the great thing about this website is that when you actually go into this, they really dig into rating each charity based on accountability and transparency and their financial situation. And so they actually, when the information is available, break down how the money is spent that the charity raises. And so some of the metrics that they measure are program expenses, administrative expenses, fundraising efficiency, working capital ratio, program expenses growth, liabilities to assets. And then they also talk about, what information is available online. So do they have independent voting board members? Do they have contracts of inflict and whistleblower policies? Do they have CEOs with a listed salary, or are they completely nonprofit? Do they have audited financials? Do they include, documents to board meetings? And then the really interesting thing is that they actually include income statements. So they include, the money that they bring in, their expenses, their assets, all of that. So it's really a good place to go to give you an idea of just how the organization is being run and where the money actually goes that you will help them raise or that you will, work on the programs that they use the money for. And so the last website that I'm going to mention is called coloradogives.org. But of course, you can search specifically for Colorado Springs, and you can also filter these as well a bunch of different ways, alphabetically by county in the state, by status, so recently active, if they're close to their goals, whether they're nonprofits or, they have specific fundraising pages. And just some of the ones that come up right here on the very first page when I search for Colorado Springs is the Colorado Springs Philharmonic, the Junior League, Spring Institute for Intercultural Learning, Urban Peak Colorado Springs, the Salvation Army, Colorado Springs All Breed Rescue, which is an animal rescue, Mind Health Springs Incorporated, Friends of the Gardens on Spring Creek, Colorado Springs Teen Court, which has a subtitle of Restorative Justice for Teens by Teens. So there are a lot of different things for you to take a look at. So again, if you have ever thought about volunteering, or maybe even if you haven't, it is absolutely something you should look into, and these 3 websites that I have provided for you are amazing resources. Just go on to them, type in Colorado Springs, and filter by whatever cause is important to you, and just reach out to them and just get involved. It's not as intimidating as you might think it is. And what's so great about going with a cause you're passionate about is you're going to connect with other people who are passionate about the same thing. So generally, you're going to get along with at least a few people in the organization, so you might even make a few new friends. Now, if you do want to check out any of these websites, all you have to do is go to springspodcast.com/040, and of course, those are the actual numbers. And that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure that you come back on Monday, where I'm going to be talking about the events happening around the city next week. And I hope that you have a fantastic weekend.